Breaking news right now. Is speeding to blame for a violent head-on crash in Paramount?
The CBS 2 news team is here tonight. We began with the wreck investigation.
A part of Somerset near Texaco is closed right now. CBS 2's Chris Holmstrom is live at the scene for us. Chris.
Yeah, there's still a lot of questions as to what happened out here. At this point, details are limited, but take a look. You could see a live look at the scene. You can see the tow trucks just arriving out here. Now, as I mentioned, information is limited. I did speak to a witness in this area. Now, he says the driver of a black Acura was speeding on Somerset and somehow jumped over the curb, slamming into the white car. Well, that car apparently caught on fire. Inside, witnesses say, was a father and also a daughter. They were both taken to the hospital. At this point, their condition is unknown. But as for other neighbors I spoke with, they say speed is always an issue out here and that street racing is a big problem.
It's too dangerous. I mean, you think about if you got family and everything here, that could happen to us too. So, I mean, I hope they do something about this, because, I mean, we never see any police officers, around this block at all. And these things every day, doing just racing every day.
And the driver of the black Acura was placed inside a patrol car and was taken away by a deputy. But back out here live, a lot of questions as to what happened and how that father and daughter are doing in the hospital. Once we find out, we'll bring it right to you. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Chris Holmstrom kicking things off for us tonight here on CBS 2. Roseanne Barr is back on Twitter tonight apologizing for the racist tweet that caused the cancellation of her show, saying that she was, quote, ambient tweeting. But she didn't stop there. CBS 2's Tom Waite is live at ABC Studios in Burbank tonight to sort it all out for us. Tom?
And Jeff, it has been another bizarre night on Twitter with Rosanne Barr. She has defended herself. She's attacked her critics and she's apologized. Roseanne Barr was back on Twitter tonight posting this. Guys, I did something unforgivable, so do not defend me. It was 2 in the morning and I was ambient tweeting. It was Memorial Day too. I went too far and do not want it defended. It was egregious, indefensible. I made a mistake. I wish I hadn't, but don't defend it, please. Thank you. Barr also retweeted a string of other posts from people defending her racist joke. Barr's epic spiral began at 2:45 this morning with this post. Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby equals VJ. VJ is Valerie Jarrett, a former high-level advisor to President Obama. By 11 a.m., ABC canceled the show. Roseanne's Twitter statement is abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values, and we have decided to cancel her show.
The idea that a network would cancel their top performing show is incredibly unprecedented.
The Hollywood Reporter's Rebecca Sun says the writers for Roseanne were set to start meeting as soon as today.
There are a couple of hundred people who work on Roseanne, the writers, the fellow castmates, and all these crew members who really are just working class people.
Co-stars of the show like Sarah Gilbert condemned Barr's comments, saying the current situation was sad and difficult for all of us. Meanwhile, the target of Barr's racist post, Valerie Jarrett, responded during a town hall that aired on MSNBC.
I'm fine. I'm worried about all the people out there who don't have a circle of friends and followers who come right to their defense.
And more bad news for Roseanne Barr tonight. We have learned that the talent agency that represented her has dropped her. Reporting live just outside ABC Studios, I'm Tom Waite. Back to you in the studio.
Tom, thank you. Lawyers for Morgan Freeman are demanding tonight CNN retract its report in which 8 women accused the actor of sexual harassment. In a 10-page letter to CNN's president, the lawyers claim the story CNN ran defamed Freeman and inflicted serious injury to the actor's reputation and career.
Yeah, the letter asks for a retraction and a public apology and implies a lawsuit may follow. CNN is standing by its reporting and says it will not be intimidated.
The highest of high-end shopping areas, Rodeo Drive, reeling tonight from an attack by crooks with a low-end tactic, smashing stuff with a hammer. Tonight, CBS 2's Jeff Nguyen is live in Beverly Hills with more video. Jeff.
Susie and Jeff, the crooks tried to break into the Saint Laurent store where the glass is broken. You can see some of the spots right here, and down here. It has since been covered and the crooks were not able to get in, but they did turn their attention over here where they smashed through the front and ran out with armloads of clothing. All of it was caught on camera, and tonight police are hoping you will recognize the people or the cars involved. Surveillance video captured 4 cars pulling up to the 400 block of North Rodeo Drive. Then about a dozen people tried to break into the Saint Laurent store. You can see one of them swinging what appeared to be a hammer, but they couldn't get in. They did manage to break into the clothing store next door.
They're really fast.
Danielle and Alex Pierce are visiting from Atlanta, where they say smash and grabs like this are common.
They've probably done it before. They planned it, and they knew what they were looking for.
Police say the band of thieves were in and out in about 90 seconds.
We have over 600 CCTV cameras, and by the next year, we're going to be doubling that to 1,200.
Police got to the scene and found one of the cars involved around 4 a.m. Tuesday. That led to a short chase, but a handful of people ditched the car and got away on foot.
Oh no.
Some vacationers say this brazen crime has shattered their image of Rodeo Drive.
I probably wouldn't want to be out here when it starts to get darker.
The cars involved are believed to be a gray or silver two-door BMW, a black four-door Hyundai, which is in police custody after the chase, a gray or silver BMW X5 SUV, and a four-door Honda Civic. All of them had paper plates. Alex Pierce believes the crooks work as a group for a reason.
A lot less opportunity for someone to play the hero or anything like that, obviously, as opposed to one person.
Last Monday, the South Fifth Avenue store nearby was targeted during a smash and grab during the early morning hours, but right now police are not sure if that case is connected to this one. We'll send it back to you.
Jeff, thank you so much. Well, shocking news today from the LAPD about the USC sex abuse scandal. 52 people have come forward to accuse former campus gynecologist Dr. George Tyndall of inappropriate behavior. Investigators say those allegations span more than 25 years, and several women have filed lawsuits against Tyndall and the university.
He violated me many different times and made up medical excuses.
If many women who don't know each other over a 30-year period come forward and speak their truth, it's a lot harder for a defendant to defeat that. So their strength in numbers.
And right now, the LAPD is asking other former patients of Dr. Tyndall to come forward if they believe that they were ever a victim of sexual abuse.
And developing news tonight out of Las Vegas, jurors were not tricked by an audience member's lawsuit against magician David Copperfield. After only 2 hours of deliberating, a jury found Gavin Cox was responsible, 100% responsible in fact, for injuries he suffered during a Copperfield illusion at the MGM Grand. Volunteers were brought on stage, then ran down a secret passageway and popped up somewhere else. Cox claimed he slipped on construction dust and fell, suffering brain injuries.
Well, the only person arrested in connection with a deadly spa explosion in Orange County is now a free man tonight. CBS 2 Orange County reporter Stacey Butler is live in Trabuco Canyon with the very latest twist in this murder case. Stacey?
Yeah, Jeff, detectives were hoping that the arrest of Stephen Beal would bring them answers, but instead today he was released from jail, so now it's back to the drawing board. Tonight, the victim's family wants answers. Tonight, flowers and candles illuminate the home where 48-year-old Ildiko Kraniak lived in Trabuco Canyon. Earlier today, 50 miles away in Long Beach. Her ex-boyfriend and business partner, 59-year-old Stephen Beal, returned home, a free man.
Mr. Beal, any comments?
Just released from jail, he didn't want to speak with reporters.
Is there anything you can tell us, sir?
Prosecutors dropped charges against him after court papers revealed that devices agents found in his garage may not be considered destructive. Beal was arrested during the investigation of the bombing that killed Kraniak and injured 3 others at her Aliso Viejo day spa 2 weeks ago. The feds say the explosion was intentional, but he was never named a suspect. Now, Kraniak's niece can't help but wonder who would want to hurt her.
We can't even imagine for what reason would someone do such thing. We have no idea why would someone do such thing.
We tried to speak with Beal's son, but no one answered at his Long Beach apartment. Earlier this month, Beal told investigators he used to make rockets as a hobby. Kraniak's family hopes they find her killer.
Yes, we are all really worried because we still don't know who did this. And it's all really frustrating for our family, and everybody's devastated, and we try to move on, and it's been really hard.
Well, for now, investigators say they don't have enough evidence against anyone to file charges. That's the latest from Trabuco Canyon. Jeff and Susie, back to you.
Thank you, Stacey. Another autopilot crash.
But this time, a Tesla crashed into a police cruiser in Orange County. That's ahead. Plus this.
A wild night in Ukaipa. We'll tell you what neighbors are saying about this close call with a bear.
And look at this, gas station swarmed. Find out what attracted all of these bugs to the pump.
Hey everybody, I'm Garth Kemp out by LAX. We're already starting to get socked in. We'll have your forecast coming up.
And let's take a look at the guest tonight on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.